What are the leases and rental agreements? Most leases are for 1 year, although short-term lets are possible, either weekly or monthly. These are usually available through the same channels as long-term rentals, with one difference, that the rent is paid in full either to the owner or property management agent. Utility bills are included in a short-term rental. Long-term leases of 1 year are only for residents of Dubai, or those with a residence visa. On signing the lease, the following documents are required. Tenants. Copy of their passport. Copy of their UAE residency visa, or a letter from the employer stating that the visa is being processed. Statement of income from their employer. Landlord/estate agent. Copy of the title deed or proof of ownership, sale contract. Copy of the landlord's passport, and residence visa if applicable. Copy of the estate agent's broker ID card. Receipt on company letterhead for any monies paid, rent and commissions. By law, all leases are registered with RERA, and must include information on rent capping. All rents must be linked into the RERA rent index. Rent is usually paid in advance by a series of post-dated checks. Often the number of post-dated checks depends on how flexible the landlord is. It is the legal responsibility of the tenant to ensure there are sufficient funds to cover the post-dated checks. The tenancy agreement, which must be written, should include signature of both tenant and landlord, description of the property, address of the property, purpose of tenancy, period of tenancy, rent value, method of payment, how to register the leases and rental agreements. All rental contracts must be registered online with RERA, on the Ajari website, which means My Rent in Arabic. Either the landlord or the tenant may register the contract without notification to the other party. Registering the lease helps if there are any disputes between the landlord and tenant. Ajari telephone, 04203-0541. The following resources provide information about renting apartments in Dubai. www.exbatwoman.com. What you need to know about real estate agencies. What are the additional costs involved in renting a property? The other things you have to ask. Rental increase at contract renewal. The law about evictions. 6. How can I open a bank account in Dubai? Criteria. It is mandatory to have a residence visa, which demonstrates your right to be in the country. You also require a no objection certificate, NOC, from your employer. The employer's letter needs to stipulate your salary, to show the amount that will regularly be paid into the bank. Some banks will ask to see your tenancy agreement to establish your residential address, and most will ask for a photocopy of your passport. You should take copies of all these documents, as well as identity photographs. Documents required. Passport with residency, original and copy. A letter of no objection from the employer/sponsor. What is the process for attesting documents? Certificate and document attestation in Dubai. Any important documents you bring with you will have to be attested if they are used for any part of your visa process. For example, marriage certificates if you are sponsoring your spouse, educational certificates if a qualification is required for a job. If a document is not in Arabic or English, you will need a translation, attested or notarized. Procedure for attestation of documents and certificates prior to coming to Dubai. Basic process is to take document and copy to a ministry or Department of Foreign Affairs in your home country. They will stamp it or similar to verify that the issuing authority is real, and the certificate is genuine. Then take document and copy to the UAE embassy or consulate in your home country. They will stamp it or similar to verify that the previous stamp comes from the genuine government body in your country. Submit attested documents and/or copies to the relevant government department in the UAE when you get to Dubai or elsewhere in the UAE. Your company pro should be familiar with the attestation procedure and will give you more specific details. If you are not in your home country prior to coming to Dubai and UAE, you have two choices. Take documents to the nearest embassy or consulate of your home country for verification and stamping. Then take documents to the Foreign Affairs Department of the country you're in to verify the embassy/consulate attestation is correct. Then go to the UAE embassy/consulate of the country you're in for final attesting of your certificates and documents. Or, send documents to your home country to complete the original process. Either someone there could do it for you, or you could send them back and forth to the respective departments. The first option is probably easier. Notary public is a person, often a lawyer, who is authorized to witness signatures or notarize documents, i.e. verify they are what they say they are. In Dubai, go to your embassy to get documents notarized. Expect to pay 100 to 200 dirhams. Another possibility is the Dubai courts. There's a notary public office there, probably cheaper than your embassy, less than 100 dirhams, but may be limited in what they can sign off. UK educational certificates. There are two options to attest educational certificates. The first procedure is to get the document certified by the British Council in Dubai, and then returned to the UK for further verification. The second is to start the process in the UK personally, via a notary. Step 1. British Council in Dubai or Notary Public in UK. The British Council only stamps and verifies documents issued by UK accredited institutions. To start the verification process, visit the British Council in person with the original educational certificate and one copy. The British Council located on Tariq bin Ziyad Street, near Rashid Hospital in Bur, Dubai. The website says it is opened for verification of documents between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. The British Council verifies that the educational institute exists and that the individual named on the certificate is awarded the qualification. To do this, the British Council contacts the relevant institution and the process takes up to 2 weeks. Once verification from the institution has been received, you will have to return to the British Council and take the original certificate and photographic ID. Remember, in some cases, the institution may charge a separate, additional fee, which you as the customer must pay to the institution directly. Verification of documents from the British Council is AED 180 per stamp. If you opt for sending your documents to a notary public, you must send the certificate to the relevant office and the cost of the service will depend upon the individual solicitor's office. Step 2. The Legalization Office, Milton Keynes. Once you have the stamp or signature from either the British Council or Notary Public, it then has to be legalized by the Legalization Office of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, FCO UK, in Milton Keynes, UK. Step 3. UAE Embassy, London. After the Legalization Office attests your certificates, you may wish for your documents to be collected and transferred to the UAE Embassy by courier. It must go to the UAE Embassy in London as the FCO UK signature needs to be attested also. Step 4. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, UAE. Once the FCO UK signature is attested at the UAE Embassy in London, you must take them straight to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for attestation. In total, you're looking at roughly AED 560, give or take, for each document, excluding postage and packaging and courier fees.